I want you to just pause for a second. Stop scrolling. Stop driving. Well, actually, please keep your eyes on the road if you're driving. But mentally pause. I want you to answer a question for me.
But there's a catch, right?
There's a catch. It's not a loud question. It's not something you're going to see screaming across a chyron on the news. Our source material today calls it a quiet question.
Yeah, it's the kind of question that, it just hums in the background of your life. Most people feel it long before they ever find the words for it.
Exactly. And that question is, how does human experience actually work?
And let's be super clear right up top. We are not talking about biology here. This isn't about how the optic nerve hits the retina or which neurons are firing.
Right. No, we're going way, way deeper than the mechanics. We're talking about the architecture of reality itself, or maybe more specifically, your reality. Today, we're doing a deep dive into this really fascinating, kind of dense document called The Spectrix Manifesto.
Architecture of Human Experience.
Yeah. And it's the foundational text for a metaphysical institute called Spectrix. And let me tell you, if you were expecting like a 5 Steps to Happiness listicle, you were in the wrong place.
Oh, absolutely. This is not that. Spectrix, it positions itself in a really unique space. The text says right away this institute wasn't founded as a response to trends or buzzwords.
Which is so refreshing. I mean, everything these days is a reaction to something else. Here's why the other guys are wrong. But Spectrix says it's focused on mind, body, spirit alignment.
Yeah.
And I know, as soon as I say that, half our listeners probably roll their eyes.
And that's fair. That's a fair reaction usually. We live in an era of fluffy concepts, but hang on. Because the way they break this down is surprisingly rigorous, they're not asking for blind faith.
No, they're asking you to investigate. That's the key word for me. Investigate. The whole mission is peeling back the layers of how we perceive the world. The manifesto argues that we usually settle for 2 kinds of descriptions for our lives.
Right. The first is social descriptions, so how we gossip, complain about work, that kind of thing.
Yeah. My boss is a jerk.
Yeah.
That level. And the second is clinical reductions. So you have elevated cortisol.
But Spectrix says there's a third layer.
The layer of meaning.
The layer of meaning. It's the engine room. It's looking at how meaning is actually formed, how your perception shapes your belief, and then how that belief quietly governs every single thing you do.
Belief quietly governs behavior.
Man, that is such a heavy line. Let's really unpack that because that feels like the central thesis of this whole thing.
It is. It's absolutely the central thesis. The source argues, and this is the part that might make you a little uncomfortable, that we don't just observe reality. We like to think we're cameras, just objectively recording what's out there.
Right. I see a chair. It's a chair. I see a person frowning. Well, that person is frowning. Simple. Far from it, according to Spectrix. We interpret, we filter, we construct reality internally before we ever act on it. We are not passive observers, we are active architects. That frowning person isn't just data. You instantly decide why they're frowning and what it means for you.
So this is the red pill moment. We think we're reacting to what's happening.
But we're actually reacting to the story we've already built about what's happening.
Wow.
Exactly. Think of it like a chain reaction. The manifesto lays it out in a specific sequence. First, meaning is formed. So something happens. Let's say you get an email from your boss that just says, "See me in my office."
Yes, instant panic. My heart rate just went up thinking about that.
Of course. But pause. The event was just pixels on a screen, but you instantly assigned a value to it. Danger, threat, I'm in trouble. That's step 1. Meaning,
Okay.
Step 2, that perception shapes your belief. You start to believe, my boss hates me, or my job is at risk.
And then step 3 is the behavior.
Belief dictates behavior. You walk into that office defensive, sweating, maybe a little aggressive because you're ready for a fight and because you're acting that way.
The boss gets weirded out, the meeting goes badly, and I actually do end up in trouble.
Prophecy fulfilled. But
Yeah.
the origin of that whole disaster wasn't the email, it was the construction. This shifts everything. It moves us from what is happening to me to how am I constructing what is happening?
That is a massive shift. It's empowering, but it's also, it's a lot of responsibility, right? It means I can't just blame the external world for how I feel.
It is a heavy responsibility, but that's the point. That's the mission they describe, to help people observe that construction process. Because if you can see how you built the house, you can renovate it.
But if you can't see the blueprints, you're just stuck in a drafty room complaining about the cold.
Exactly.
Okay, so if we are the architects, how do we even look at the blueprints? The manifesto lists these 5 lenses of inquiry, and they sound pretty heavy.
They do, but I love how the source describes them. It says they aren't abstract silos, where the philosophy department never talks to the physics department. They're overlapping lenses. You look through all of them at once.
Let's walk through them because, I'll be honest, the first one is ontology. I feel like I need a tweed jacket just to say it.
I get it, but the question it asks is really primal. Ontology just asks, what does it mean to be? It's the study of existence itself.
So not what do I do, but what am I?
Right. At your core, are you a biological machine? A soul in a body? A piece of the universe? How you answer that, even subconsciously, changes everything. If you think you're just a machine, you treat yourself like one.
Okay, I can see that. So what's the second lens? Natural theology. No, does that mean religion?
No, and the text is very specific here. It asks, what can be known through reason and observation alone?
Reason and observation alone. That's a really key distinction.
It's crucial. It's not about a holy book or a guru. It's about looking at the natural world, the complexity of a cell, the vastness of space, and asking, what does this tell us? It's like empirical spirituality.
It's grounded. I like that. It's like being a detective for the universe. Okay, next up, causality. That seems straightforward. Cause and effect.
On the surface, yeah. But they take it deeper. Causality asks why things happen, but also does intention play a role?
So it's not just billiard balls hitting each other. It asks if the intention behind the shot matters.
Exactly. Do things happen to you, or do they happen for you, or because of you? If you believe the universe is just random chaos, you live with a lot of anxiety. But if you believe there's a link between your internal state and your external world, you have more agency. You hold the cue stick.
Which leads right into the fourth lens, cosmology.
Yeah, and this isn't just NASA. Philosophically, cosmology asks about origin, order, and structure. Where did we come from, and is there any order to all this? Is the universe a friendly place, or is it hostile?
And the fifth and final lens is philosophy of mind.
This is maybe the most intimate one. What is consciousness, and how does it shape experience? What is the I that is listening to us right now? Is it just a byproduct of the brain, or is the brain more like a receiver for it?
Okay, devil's advocate here. This is all fascinating, but what does ontology or cosmology have to do with my Tuesday morning commute? Or the fact that my toddler won't eat his peas?
That is the million-dollar question, and the source anticipates that. It says these aren't academic curiosities, they are practical considerations.
How so? Connect the dots for me. How does cosmology help with the toddler?
Because every single one of us answers these questions, whether we realize it or not. You have an implicit answer for why things happen, and that answer shapes how you live, how you parent, everything.
Give me a concrete example.
Okay. Cosmology, order versus chaos. If your deep implicit belief is that the universe is random and hostile, how do you parent your kids?
With a lot of fear. I'd be overprotective, trying to control everything because the world feels unsafe. I'd be teaching them to be defensive.
Exactly. You become a helicopter parent, not because you're annoying, but because your cosmology dictates that you have to build a fortress in a war zone. But if your cosmology is that there's an inherent order or support, you parent with more trust. You let them climb the tree.
Wow. So my parenting style isn't just psychology, it's cosmology.
Your internal architecture dictates your external life. You can't escape these questions. You can only choose to answer them consciously or unconsciously.
That's actually really helpful. It makes these big words feel like tools. Which brings us to the toolkit. Because Spectrix isn't just a philosophy club, it offers services. But they make a really clear point about what they don't do.
This is a crucial distinction. It's vital to their ethics. Spectrix services are not designed to fix people. They don't diagnose conditions, and they don't impose specific outcomes.
That's so refreshing. Usually the assumption is that you're broken and you go to a wellness center to get fixed. You get a prescription or a 10-step plan.
Spectrix flips that. Their goal is to help you observe how you construct meaning, and then, and this is their word, recalibrate.
Recalibrate. I love that word. It implies nothing is broken, just maybe out of tune.
Exactly, like a violin.
Yeah.
Or a compass that's pointing just slightly off north. You don't throw it away, you recalibrate it. The text says recalibration is for when a construction no longer serves coherence, clarity, or continuity.
So if my way of seeing the world is making me miserable or confused, I don't need to be fixed. I just need to recalibrate my filter.
Correct. And to do that, they use a blend of tools. The manifesto lists things like neuro-linguistic programming, NLP hypnosis, breathwork, guided reflection, and energy-based alignment.
I've heard of most of those, but usually by themselves. You go to a hypnotist for smoking or a breathwork class to de-stress. Why throw them all together?
Because they argue that each method addresses perception from a different angle. If you only use one, you might miss a part of the construction.
Walk me through that.
Well, you build your reality with words, right? That's where NLP comes in. It helps you change the language you use.
Like I'm stressed versus I'm being challenged.
Right. But words aren't enough. You also build with images in your mind. That's hypnosis. You build it with physical sensations. That's breath work. You can't just talk your way out of a feeling that's stuck in your chest. You have to breathe it out.
It's a multi-pronged attack, or I guess a multi-pronged alignment.
It acknowledges that we're complex. You can change your words, but if your body is still holding on to the trauma, the reality won't really shift. You have to engage all those levels.
So who are the people going to Spectrix? Is there a specific type? Are they all in crisis?
Not necessarily. The manifesto lists a few types: people seeking clarity, people seeking alignment. But my favorite description is this: those who feel something no longer fits but can't name why.
Oh man, that hits home. That feeling of I'm doing everything right, but the sweater is itchy.
Exactly. It's that subtle dissonance. It's a quiet realization that the map you've been using doesn't match the territory anymore. The commonality is a readiness to look beneath the surface. They're tired of just rearranging the furniture. They want to see the floor plan.
And this leads into their whole philosophy for their content, this thing called perspectives. They're taking a very different approach than what we're used to.
Yeah, they describe their whole ethos as slowing the conversation down.
Which, in the age of 15-second hot takes, is a pretty bold move. Everything today is designed to be consumed instantly.
And Spectrix just pushes back on that. The goal isn't to persuade you. They aren't trying to sell you certainty. The text explicitly says perspectives isn't here to persuade you. It's here to explore ideas carefully and with respect for complexity.
And they even mention disagreement, don't they? Which I found so interesting for an institute with a manifesto.
Yes, they expect it. The source says, you may not agree with every perspective offered here. That's not only acceptable, it's expected.
That's so important. Usually the subtext is, here is the truth with a capital T, and if you disagree, you just aren't enlightened yet.
They take the opposite stance. They say what matters isn't agreement, but that you think more clearly and listen more attentively. The goal is for you to notice how your own perceptions shape what you're hearing.
So even the act of listening to them and disagreeing is part of the work.
Yes, it's a perfect practice ground. If you hear an idea and immediately reject it, that spike of, no, that's wrong, the Spectrix approach would be to ask, okay, pause. What architecture in my mind caused that reaction? What filter is that idea hitting?
It's meta-listening.
Yeah.
You're listening to the content, but also listening to your reaction to the content.
Which goes right back to the beginning. Meaningful construction. Even your disagreement is a construction. That inquiry is where the real work happens. It turns consumption into reflection.
This really ties it all together. From the quiet question, through those 5 heavy lenses, to the practical toolkit of recalibration, and finally to this mindset of just observing the whole process.
It's comprehensive, and it's also really welcoming. The manifesto ends by welcoming anyone, whether you're there for intellectual curiosity or personal reflection. It's a space for inquiry and integration.
Integration, that's another great word. It's not just about tearing things apart to analyze them. It's about putting them back together in a way that works better.
In a way that has coherence. That seems to be the ultimate goal. Not happiness, which is fleeting, but coherence. Does your internal world match your external experience?
It's a heavy topic, but it's also oddly practical. I mean, we all feel like we're running on a script we didn't write sometimes.
And Spectrix suggests that you did write the script, or at least you built the stage, and if you built it, you can renovate it.
So as we wrap up, the big takeaway is, we're not just passive observers, we are active architects of our reality. We use these deep lenses without even knowing it. And when the house feels crooked, we can use tools to recalibrate, not to fix ourselves, but to get back in tune.
That's a beautiful summary. The point isn't to find the perfect reality, but one that offers clarity and continuity.
I want to leave you with one final thought today. If this central idea is true, if we construct our reality before we act on it, then you are wearing a pair of glasses right now that you might have forgotten you have on.
We all are, every second of every day.
So just look at your day today. Look at a conflict you're having, or the stress you feel about something, or even the joy you feel about something small. And ask yourself, what filter am I looking through to create this feeling? And is it maybe time to take those glasses off and just clean them?
Or maybe swap them for a new pair entirely. Recalibration starts right there with that simple observation.
Thanks for diving deep with us today. We'll see you next time.